create the performance, and there is no performance without all put together. So if I put here some play and people are just watching it, this is not theater of interest. Why? Why? Because this is I would say this is something special. This is a special method. Does anybody of you already know this method?
Yes.
Yes? Can you just, I don't know, raise one hand? Okay, one person already knew. Tasha, you also know this, no? She's one of our... Okay. For today, on the wall you will see just pictures from theater of the press, and this is from one group that works in Maribor, and then from the other group that is working in Ljubljana. And just one thing, I'm not from Ljubljana, I'm from Maribor. But I work in Ljubljana and Maribor. And Slovenia. Okay. In the beginning, I will just check what I want to say. Yes, okay. Theater of the press. What is theater of the press? Does anybody of you that knows it can say something about theater of the press? Just associations, whatever. Emotions? Emotions. Participation.
People involved.
People involved. Thank you. What else?
Creation.
Creation. Okay.
Relations.
Relations. Great. So theater of the press started in the 60s in Brazil, and it was sort of invented by Augusto Boal. This was one great man. He was like director, writer, politician, everything. I would say like multi-practical man. But what happened is that this was in the 60s in Brazil. And nowadays, what I'm thinking all the time when I'm working with this method is that nowadays there is like 21st century, and I'm living in Slovenia, in Maribor, at the moment. So my question is, what is theater of the press nowadays? Because in the 60s there was like a very strong regime there, and nowadays we sort of live in capitalism. There are also like different techniques how to use this theater of the press. There are very interesting techniques. Like one is, let's say, newspaper theater. This means that we use different media, or like paper, newspapers and stuff, to create some new perspectives how to look on one topic. And we can use this technique to make text for the performance also. Then one very popular technique is called forum theater. This is a technique where people like play one short play on the stage, that is not a stage, and they present a problem. And they ask people, like there's one moderator called the Joker, who asks people, okay, what did you see? What is the problem here? And people start to actually answer and give this feedback, like, I don't know, the problem is that there is one person that is oppressed and there is one person that is oppressing the other person. And we're all trying to find, not solutions, but maybe better ways how to face these problems. And we do it not only to discuss about the problem, but people also come on the stage. They change the oppressed person, and they actually, with their body, they act and they show how to feel and how to change this oppressed position in a better way. Do you get it? Yeah? If not, okay, you can talk later. Right. And this is, let's say, the other technique. Then one technique is called image theater, where you froze your body, and there is just an image of your body. You don't use voice. So I would say, I don't know how I feel today. It's like, I guess you can see. And there are some other techniques, very nice one. What is very important with this method, theater of the breast, is that it's always working with people and for people, I would say. Like, we're all in the process working on some topic, and it's important that these topics are always, I would say, from the first hand. Like, they're very, like, I mean, personal, because we believe that what is personal is also political. So it's not a topic, let's say, if I would work with a group of students, I would not work on the problematic of how is it to be old and, I don't know, sick. Just for example. And what else did I want to say is, what comes from this is that people that are involved in process, this is a method that is also for non-actors. Of course, also actors and professional actors can work with this method, but this is like for non-actors. So we are all actors. We believe that we can all act, and what I would say is if we just check each other, I don't know, you sit like this, you sit like this, you have already some gestures, poses, however, how you present yourself. You don't need to act like, you can just be yourself and act like this on the stage with theater of your breast. And of course, the most important thing is, because it's called theater of your breast, the main point is that this method is researching the relations between people that have power, so the people that are oppressing, people that don't have power and are oppressed. So these relations between oppressor and oppressed. Okay, now comes that. I will try to explain you and to share a bit of my enthusiasm with you, how it starts in Slovenia. It was in 2010. And we were like 25, I think, participants from different parts of Slovenia that were part of the training. It lasted for 17 days. And it was about theater of the breast. I really love her, one very nice lady. From Vienna, she had this training. And it was funny because firstly when I came there, I was like, no, seriously, I'm not doing it. I don't believe in like theater for change or something. I was very skeptical. But then after these 17 days, I remember the day when I was sitting on the Prešernov Square in Ljubljana, and I was like, oh my god, I have to work with this. I'm so exhausted. I'm so whoa. And at the same time I had a feeling like, but I can't save the world with this, I'm just one person. I can't. Because this is a method that is also called theater for social changes, or theater for life, theater for empowerment. And all this for me was something that I finally found a method that I can use to express myself, but not just to express, but to work with, because I studied cultural studies. So this was like a link between theory and practice. And I was like, okay, now I can really work with people. But yes, at the same time, I was like, how can I work with people? I'm just one person. It's like, the world is huge and I'm just one. But what was good was that after all this training, I think we were like 10 of us, the most enthusiastic participants, who said we want to work more with this method. And we formed like an informal group called Transformator. Like transformers or something. We want to transform society. Like, yeah, power. This is actually part of the people are transformator. Here we are in Maribor, on Groningen. And I really like these pictures because here we are really involving random people. With my favorite game, we can play it if you want, it's really like he wants Crises and there, when we have a break. It's really fantastic game to relax a bit. I wanted to do this with you. You were like sitting like this. So this group, Transformator. We started to work on different topics and we were like theater on call because different non-government organizations called us and said, okay, in 3 weeks we have a day against phobia or something. They were always like, we have a lot of these days or something. And they call us if we can help them with some performance or street action or something. And this is, let's say, one of the first examples of, not the first, but one of the actions that we had in Prešernov Square. It's called Wedding Without Borders. It was on the day against homophobia, when we wanted to actually share with people that it's not only love why you should get married with someone, but it's something wider. And actually a lot of people came and they could get married, and we also get married, so I have a wife, even though I was in Belgium that time, so we were like getting married on the phone, but it was wonderful, really. Yes, and I think it was really good action because also people, actors, they also went to different bypassers and asked them to sign a petition that they support actually weddings between same gender. Okay. Then why I'm saying this is because the group Transformator and now the other group Crises, which if I translate it in English, it's groups or one groups, and we always do this. It's not always, I like it. So the common thing of these groups is that we are the topics that we concern about what is gender, sex and gender. So, okay, and this is these are pictures from Forum Day that I was telling you about before, where we discussed about stereotypes between women and men. Like I don't know, actually, but what I really like from is that the text was made with the technique of newspaper technique, from these men and women newspapers, Men's Health and Playboy, newspapers. And the sentences were really like, I'm saying about copy-paste from these newspapers, like, men should never men should always wear blue color, or I don't know. The real man does not wear a big bag, because he doesn't have a lot of stuff, or something like that. This is really like text from these newspapers. And we wanted to share it with people and give them like something to think, like, okay, this is something from real life. And also to think about stereotypes and what they bring. This is my favorite one. Not just the whole play. This is actually the final production of the workshop that was held like last year in February and March in Maribor and Ljubljana, and it was called Room for Women. So the point was, I wanted to ask only women, what does it mean to be a woman nowadays? Because there are like different ideas. Some of them want to be very emotional. Some of them think that the real woman is a very cool one and a businesswoman and stuff like that. So we were like impressed with the question. Topics like this. And this was like the final production of the workshop. And these are the pictures from our group in Maribor. And the thing is that we are also like, our last performance was between the fires, but I'm not how to translate this, like maybe it's something more like nicer, like medicima function. And it was also like the performance about gender, like what does it mean to be a real man, or how do I feel as a woman, and what is, I don't know, how do I feel if someone is coming over my personal borders, stuff like this. But I would say that this performance was like performance itself went already over theater of the oppressed final performances, but the whole process was went to theater of the oppressed, I think. This is a tree of theater of the oppressed. I feel like I found it somewhere on the web. And this is like all tree from Transformation. Okay, but the point is, what I wanted to say, why theater of the oppressed? But this is my personal answer. Like, why theater of the oppressed? As I said, I see it as a bridge between theory and practice. What I really like is that, I don't know, maybe it's just my feeling, but I have a feeling that people nowadays, we don't communicate. I mean, we do communicate a lot. We don't understand. We don't hear each other because we are not, I mean, I would say that we hear maybe each other, but we don't see each other or feel each other. And theater of the oppressed, why I love it is because we work with the body, and so we start to think about non-verbal communication. Okay, and also like using body to express ourselves, or just as spectators to come on the stage. It's something different than just talking. It's not just words, but it's action. And after all, we become one community because as people that are working with this, we start to think and connect with each other. And when we go home, we can be like, okay, no, there are like more people, not just me, that feels or think the same. And I think this is something very important nowadays when most of the people also meet, is spending a lot of time, hours a day in front of the computer. There's something else. Yeah. Do you have any questions? I don't know what's the time actually. I'm always like, we can also play some games, you know, this very questions. I really love it. And it's not hard. First, make questions.
Please use a mic.
Maybe I don't understand, maybe it's a joke, we are all oppressed in a way. How can you say apart who is it oppressed and who is not? Or just the name of the theater?
I would say that it is a name of the theater because if you go deeper and analyze these relations, of course, I mean, and it happens also a lot of times when you have to define like who is the person that is oppressed the most and the person that is oppressor. People said, but this one that is oppressor is also oppressed, you know? Because also like if you have a mother that is really like she's also, I guess, oppressed because something happened in her life that she's like that. Of course, I mean, it is, I wouldn't say that there are people that who are oppressed, people that are oppressed, because we are all oppressed. Also, maybe just what Paul did was first, so he worked in Brazil, but later he went to work in South America and Europe. And when he came there, he realized that relations between oppressor and oppressed are not the same as in Brazil, because let's say in Europe, the most important problems were like depression, loneliness, and stuff like this. So there were like totally different problems of oppression. Let's say self-oppression, I also, some self-oppression also. It can be, let's say, oppression from inner oppressions and outside oppression. And that's why he invented the technique called rainbow desire. It's a bit also therapeutic. So yeah, but I would say that people are like, we are always
therapeutic work?
No, I mean...
And if you actually do some therapies with people which are not from art or social, they have other social background or problems or I don't know.
I mean, I didn't work in this way, but I believe and I saw that it has therapeutic influences. But I work like, when I worked with women, we were just like one group of the same gender. I worked with immigrants or something, and there were like also like social problems, but it's always bringing the personal and personal baggage, and that's why people start to open themselves, and it has therapeutic.
Actually, you need more therapeutical part of knowledge than theatrical one.
I mean, I would say that it's not important to have theatrical knowledge. I mean, I don't have it as a profession, but more like sensibility to work with people, because also this method is used like in activism, in social work, as in non-formal education. If you work with kids or something, but of course in different ways. You always adapt it to when you work with different population. And also, I mean, you can have, like, but it's always like,
What is rainbow therapy?
What is rainbow therapy? Rainbow desire is a technique. It's also as I said, it started to work when almost the world was in Europe and South America. And it's very similar, but not the same as drama therapy. I mean, the point is that when you make a performance in a it's about your personal inner voices in your head, I would say, about some conflicts that are inside of you, let's say, my relation, your relation with your mother, boss, something, you know, these conflicts that are between people. If anyone wants, I mean, now it's, I guess it's so.
Are you more confident when you play?
Sorry?
Are you more confident? Are you more confident when you play?
I don't know, you should see me, I don't know. I can't judge.
If you feel
Depends what I mean, who I play.
I'm thinking about something about this. How did you say? On the one side there is a theater. Like we have all this imagination about how this is some kind of building. You go there, you sit down, and you just watch. But then the other side there is a community. Because theater is always a community. We have now two different points of view, and maybe now I'm thinking about this, Slovenia and this, what se že reče, no, socializem, komunizem in to, kaj se to može. Družbeni sistemi, social systems, yes, because now we have, I have this feeling that we have reached the top of the individualism. Now I'm thinking and now you are talking about community theater. So this is a switch because now the mankind has a problem with being alone, being lonely, depressia, and so on. And now this is the therapeutic moment in your concept of the theater. I think this is
This is.
yes, this is. But I'm thinking about why right now and what are these kakšne so zdaj te kakšna je vloga zdaj lahko tega, ne? Vloga, razumeš, tega teatra in tega, ne?
This is also like my question, what is the point of theater of the present 21st century in Slovenia? I mean, but this is my question that I'm looking for the answers all the time when I'm working with it. Because it's always different, I would say. But yeah, I mean, this is interesting point that you said that nowadays we live in this time of individualism and this like community theater. Why people come there and who is coming? This is also like a question for me always, like who are actually people that are working with this method? Like are these people that are already on this site and are already like close to that kind of work? You know, like, but I would say that this is like a good question and to leave it as a question for next.
For the
For the round table street.